Hello, one and all. My name is Sean Toner, and I would like to welcome you all to the premiere podcast of KOTRWrestling.com. KOTR Wrestling is a professional wrestling website which is set to be launched in March 2014. Created by myself, a lifelong wrestling fan and an aspiring journalist, it will feature detailed stories and in-depth interviews, along with all the latest news, previews, and reviews of the pro wrestling world. The website is created by a die-hard wrestling fan, but it will also be accessible to anyone and everyone, whether you live and breathe the stuff or you haven't got a clue. Today we begin our series of podcasts with a prediction show for this Sunday's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. With me here are some other wrestling fanatics: Andrew Lambert,
Yeah.
Harvey Barker,
How you doing?
Joe Loy,
Hello.
and Jamie Connor.
Howdy.
So Andy, first of all, are you looking forward to this Sunday show?
I'm very excited. I'm a little too excited, I think. It should be a good show. I'm glad that there's actually more than, say, 3 matches, as there usually isn't enough really to choose from. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah. What about the rest of you guys?
Well, I can't wait. The Elimination Chamber is always exciting, and I'm back at Daniel Bryan myself.
Ooh, okay.
I'd like to see more than one Elimination Chamber, though. That's one thing.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's because now they only have the one belt, so it's
I don't
it's a
know.
pity that, again, it does bring up, I feel, the prestige of the chamber makes it mean more.
Yeah.
But,
But I would have liked to see even, I don't know, I thought an Intercontinental title should have been. Because if they're only going to have the one title now, why don't we, bring the Intercontinental title back to its proper, rank, like the way it was around 2000, when it actually meant something with Benoit, Guerrero, and Jericho and all that.
I think, to be honest, I would disagree with that, because I think one chamber is enough, because if you do any more than that's a bit overkill, really, isn't it? So I'd say one a year sort of thing. You got Hell in a Cell, and they did that to death a few years ago.
Really.
So
and
much
even the Hell in a Cell is nothing like it was years ago. You need a bit of blood and guts for Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think one's enough as long as it's a good one.
Okay.
Alright, so suppose we get into the show then. The pre-show, which is on WWE.com and YouTube only, is the Rhodes Brothers, Cody and Goldust, against Ryback and Curtis Axel. Andy, what do you think? Who do you want to win, and who do you think will win?
Well, I don't know about this match. I don't think it should have been the dark match. I'm not happy about that, because I like the Rhodes Brothers, and I just don't. I don't see Titus O'Neil and Darren Young being special whatsoever. So I'd go for the Rhodes Brothers here, even though there's no real context for this match as far as I'm aware. It seems like it popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Although I suppose I would want the Rhodes Brothers to win, but I reckon Ryback and Curtis Axel will, because if they're going for this Goldust versus Cody Rhodes storyline at WrestleMania, then they're probably going to use this match to pit them against each other.
Yeah. I'd say I would agree with you there. I think I'm going Ryback and Axel as well, because I do think there's an imminent split between Cody and Goldust that I can see coming. Preferably, I'd like to see Cody turn heel, because obviously he's the one that has a future.
You need to get Cody back in the title picture, like Intercontinental title, say, or United States title, as soon as he's done with this at WrestleMania, because I think he's definitely one of the most, one of the greatest younger stars in the.
He is an all rounder, and he's only in his late 20s too, so he's got plenty of time. Joe, what do you think?
Well, just to pick up on that point, Dolph Ziggler, I'm a big fan of.
Yes.
He needs to be more in the title.
Definitely, man.
Of course, man. It's one of the biggest banes of my wrestling loyalty that Dolph Ziggler isn't.
And he's been
involved.
losing to all sorts lately. He's been completely just used.
Yeah. I hope there's something in it that they're kind of creating something that he's losing so much that eventually he comes back and has this big win, but I can't see it happening.
Because they actually have a great set of wrestlers who could be involved in titles such as the US and the Intercontinental, but they're not using them at the moment. I don't think.
Sure, Ambrose hasn't defended the belt in months.
Well, I think he's a great he's a great person to have in that picture, but there's just no point in him holding the belt like that.
I think there's a waste of people on the roster, like Damien Sandow. I don't rate at all.
Yeah.
I just think he's a waster, really.
I don't agree with that.
Strong opinion, but I don't rate him as anything special. Him and that Fandango, can't stand him.
I like him, but I think his gimmick is terrible.
Yeah, I think Fandango is a good wrestler who was plastered with the wrong gimmick.
What is up with this Emma?
God.
Elimination.
Yeah, this Emma.
It's terrible. horrible.
came on Raw with Santino, and she's doing this crap.
it's
Santino
awful.
is this tired old shtick.
Oh
that, you
my
know,
god!
just-
How does he still have a contract?
Yeah.
Seriously.
I think the thing with all these names we're mentioning, like I think the prime example of Zack Ryder is that they do have a purpose. Like they're just there
For children,
to
though, aren't
put
they?
people over. Like,
But
so-
exactly, that was it. Like
I mean, I'm gonna say I really like Damien Sandow. I like Damien Sandow, and I really like Wade Barrett as well.
Wade Barrett,
And
of course, man.
I
Yeah.
think they do have a purpose, and hopefully they can push on. Like, but I think Dolph Ziggler's running. They're running the risk of him that he is going to turn into sort of a Zack Ryder sort of character.
Yeah.
I like both of those you mentioned, but I just think Santino Morales is over. He's gone. Like, I mean, why is he?
Yeah.
Why is
See,
he still there?
just picking up on your point there, Harry, about that these talents all have a purpose. The strange thing about nowadays, because we live in this big internet centric world, that like years ago these guys would have been on Heat and Velocity or whatever the shows were, and they were the guys that the likes of Jeff Hardy or Eddie Guerrero were facing, these unknown guys who you never saw their entrance. They were just in the ring when these guys made their entrance, and they were just there like that to put talent over and make them look good. And I think because of the internet, we now know who everyone is, and if you tend to like someone more than the other, you feel that they're getting, crushed. But yeah. So, Joe, sorry, we were
Back to the.
So the match, Rose Brothers, Cody, or
Like you said, I think they haven't got a future as a tag team. I think Goldust's just too old now, but I think they'll win this match. Probably take it to WrestleMania, lose that match, not win the Goldust. But Cody Rhodes, I can see him definitely challenge titles in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
I slightly disagree because I think Goldust, like, he is in great shape at the moment compared to maybe 10 years ago. He seems even better. than he was
I
before.
think he's in the best shape of his career, to be honest.
Like, I'm quite happy to see the two of them continue on for a while,
Mm.
especially for the nostalgia factor as well, which I love.
I'd like to see like them both go. Like it's a good tag team, but the tag team like the whole tag team like scene or whatever you want to call it at the moment is like it's pretty poor in any case. So like if they both go on to the singles like matches, like could see Goldust being used effectively, like so. I wouldn't mind if they broke up at WrestleMania with a good match.
Brothers turning on each other is always interesting as well.
Yeah, but you know
Work
what?
for the
I'd
Hardys, work for Bret Hart and Owen Hart.
Yeah,
you know?
I'd like
Taker
though.
again.
I think because it's a brothers against brothers type thing, it should be like a street fight or like an ambulance match or something.
Yeah,
some shit
something
like that, you know?
real
Yeah.
gimmicky.
It
Yeah.
has to be something like that.
What about yourself, Harry? What do you think?
Well, to keep it short, I think the Rhodes Brothers are going to lose. I think they'll end up splitting, and we'll have to watch. Well, we won't have to watch it, thankfully. But Ryback and Curtis Axel will win, and it'll just be a nothing match, I'd say.
Just on that point, I don't know if you guys were watching much, but did anyone see the rise and fall of Ryback last year? He was
Unbelievable.
Ryback was considered like basically the next Goldberg. He was getting ridiculous chance. He had this come out and he'd say "feed me more," where Goldberg would be like, "Who's next?" And like it was that he was doing this, and it completely fell flat in its face. They turned him heel to put him up against Cena, where he could have been like a big face, like but they made a mess of it.
But
And he's
can
now,
they not like use him again and try and
but
build?
that's
him
what
back?
I think they'll have to try and do it. But
Yeah.
he has a very funny Twitter presence now, which a lot of people aren't sure whether it's his character or whether it's him just being like a disgruntled employee. But he said that when CM Punk left, he said that he called dibs on the GTS, which is CM Punk's move, and then was saying all different things about Punk. So so it would be cool to see where they go with him, but I don't know.
I think he I don't know. I just look at him and I think he could be a complete,
he has the
number one
look.
contender,
He's,
like,
he's
so-
a Vince McMahon prototype.
Yeah, so
looking
like,
guy.
why not?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they mishandled him. I didn't see a whole lot of that, but he should be one for the future. Like, you don't like him at all, Harry, do you know?
No, I just find him boring now.
Yeah.
He's
And Curtis
gone
Axel.
completely stale.
Curtis Axel. Oh
He's
my god! Like a guy who had like his dad was one of my favorite wrestlers, even though he's a bit before my time, Mr. Perfect. But he was one of my favorite wrestlers, and for him to just be so, it must be so difficult. You think that like the likes of Cody Rhodes, like that they have their foot in the door because their dad was in it, but to live up to the expectation of a really good parent like who was a wrestler is, I'd say, is very difficult. On to the next match, Titus O'Neil and Darren Young. Now I know not many people in this room are very excited about this match, but I personally think it's not. It doesn't really tickle my fancy much. I think it's just a thing that had to happen because they were a tag team together. They're after breaking up, and Titus O'Neil, I think, is the obvious star out of them all because he's like I think JBL referred to him as a horse of a man because he just like stomps around that ring, big guy, and he has some charisma about him as well. Like on interviews, he's pretty great.
So he's probably actually, done well to get out of this tag team with your man Darren Young.
Yeah.
I just think like this is one to make up the numbers. This is just complete filler.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it was like completely teased out over SmackDown, if I'm right, like shows that they didn't have any like real intentions for this match.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go for Titus O'Neil and I'll say absolutely nothing else on this.
I'm pretty sure that the match is just there to facilitate the rise of Titus O'Neil. That's my opinion. So Joe, what do you think?
Yeah, just following up, I think it's going to be a very short match. Probably a minute.
Yeah.
Not wait for anything longer.
Yeah. What about you, Harry?
Yeah, I think exactly the same, and I think Titus O'Neil could main event in the next sort of 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
He's a bit old, which is the one thing going against him. He's 38 as far as I know, which for a guy starting
38
in the main
Batista's not young.
like,
so.
He doesn't look like
but
that.
then again, you're right. Batista was old when he started too. So
What age is Batista now?
Batista's now 43, I think. But like Batista, like if you look at kind of Triple H, I think is only 43, and Triple H is considered like way more of a veteran than Batista.
Yeah.
But actually, like it works for some people. I think DDP started wrestling when he was 34, which is crazy. Like some guys start when they're 16.
Well, I didn't realise he was 38. I was going to say one for the future, but
But he could be. You never know.
he could have another 4 or 5 years at the top, and then short career. But it'd be interesting to see what happens between him and Darren Young.
Yeah. So you're going for?
I think he will. He should win. Yeah.
Darren Young is the very first openly gay wrestler in
Really?
WWE.
Fair
He
play.
came out last year at some stage, and I'm pretty sure that's all he's done since. So, okay. So then on to our next match, which is for the tag team titles, the Old Age Outlaws against the Usos. So
Drop the titles. Like they need to drop the titles. The Usos go to WrestleMania with the tag titles, and then we see like maybe a fatal 4-way tag team match with, I would say, the Usos will use the New Age Outlaws to make up the numbers. If they were still around, the Rhodes Brothers, maybe Strong right back
Swagger and
in contact.
Cesaro.
The Americans could go
Maybe
for it.
Swagger and Cesaro,
yeah.
I just think like the tag titles have just lost their a long time ago they lost their like sort of like prestige. But if like there was a fatal 4 or something similar to like kind of get people excited again, I think that would be good. I just don't think the New Age Outlaws should be defending champions going into WrestleMania, considering they're only here because they're friends with Triple H.
Yeah, pretty much, and I would agree. And that's again, there's a lot of people out there, especially recently, that are critical of Triple H, and the internet has been critical of Triple H for years. But again, with his friend Batista winning the Royal Rumble, his friend Randy Orton being the WWE champion, and his friends being the tag team
Sean
champion.
Waltman's next in the title pictures.
I wouldn't be surprised that an X-Pac coming back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I personally, I'd like to go with the Usos here, but I can't see it. I can see this match transcend again, maybe to a fatal 4-way tag team over at WrestleMania, but I would reckon the Usos will win then.
Okay.
I think they'll give them their WrestleMania moment like they did Edge and Christian and all before them. So Joe, what do you think?
I disagree. I think the Usos will win. I think they're probably the best tag team they've had for a long time.
Definitely, yeah.
They're very young, and they've got like the I don't know what you say, but the fact that they're related to The Rock,
Yeah,
Reigns,
the
and
bloodline.
Rikishi,
They've got
it's just mental.
some
Like,
bloodline.
they've got, I think they've got the potential to be probably one of the best tag teams in history.
Cousins of Roman Reigns as well, who we will talk about later.
Is that like ever played upon in?
It's not played upon in the show,
Okay.
but it's known.
Okay, alright.
I think for the sake of the future of the business, the Usos have to win really because, like Andy said, it's gone quite stale tag team. division or the tag team title, and like the fact that the Rhodes Brothers and the New Age Outlaws, who are quite old, I know Cody's young, but it's just kind of sign of the times that like they're kind of playing on the nostalgia thing a bit too much there. I think they do need to move on, and maybe Usos should win.
Yeah, like I mean, if the New Age Outlaws came back in shape, like well, one half of them is in shape,
Billy.
then like that would be fine. But I always thought Billy Gunn was just such a completely better wrestler than Road Dogg from the get go. Like
I believe you said the other day, Andy, that Dolph Ziggler is the Billy Gunn of this generation,
definitely,
which
yeah.
I think is a fantastic comparison.
But like Billy Gunn could have came back and like I think he could have like wrestled himself, but like Jesus, Road Dogg is in some state. I don't think there's any place for
I
him.
love Road Dogg.
I love him.
I know
too,
he's
man. I love
Road
him.
Dogg. Billy was always the great wrestler. Road Dogg has the charisma. That entrance that they do is second
you
to
didn't
none.
know.
Even though they're like completely outdated now, and the whole I still think the New Age Outlaws thing. I know it's their name,
Yeah.
but I think it sounds really funny in this day and age. Like 15-year-olds.
Yeah, like, by all rights, the Usos should win either on Sunday or at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think it's imminent that they're going to get it. So
Mhm.
hopefully. Harry, what are your
I
thoughts?
think the Usos will win at WrestleMania. I don't think they'll win at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
I think New Age Outlaws are better for carrying the titles into WrestleMania. I think they're better talkers. I think the Usos can be good on the mic in the future, but I think at the minute the New Age Outlaws know what they're doing and they'll plug a WrestleMania match a lot better as the champions.
Yeah.
So I can see that happening.
And again, the one thing that with this being WrestleMania 30, what I'm hoping with all these nostalgia acts, the Batistas, the New Age Outlaws, and all that coming back, that hopefully it is set like it's meaning that it's now going to be like a changing of the guard, so to say, that like the likes of Roman Reigns will have a good showing at WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan will have a good showing, all these guys for the future rather than these guys of the past. So this is just the nostalgia up to now, like at WrestleMania 20 when they had Lesnar and Triple H were champions, and it ended the night with Benoit and Guerrero were the guys, like
So,
guys who
on that point, who's going to beat the Undertaker then?
I don't know. I think
Is that the one thing that's not going to change? Do you think?
I genuinely don't think it's going to change. I can't. The only person I could see doing it, there's two people now in the company that I could see
Great
doing
tally.
it. John Cena is the only one, which is not a popular decision whatsoever, but he's the star of the company. He's the only one, and I don't think he needs it at all. The other guy, and they'd be risking a lot, but Roman Reigns, I think. They'd be risking a lot, but he's the guy, like, that would make him in a night easily. And I think it's bigger than winning the world title, but personally I don't feel that anyone should beat it. I think
Nah.
this is...
I don't think anyone should beat him, but if they were going to do it, I'd like to see maybe say, like, if he was to like lie low for a while and then come back with the mask, like with vintage gear on, and then like say they had like an Inferno match or a Buried Alive match or something like that. Kane and the Undertaker would be really great.
Yeah.
But
I think,
no, he shouldn't lose this.
yeah,
point.
if
It would
there's
be
one
ridiculous.
person who kind of deserved it throughout the years, I think it's Kane.
Yeah.
He's
It would be
been-
their third
he's
match
been-
at WrestleMania as well, which is fitting.
Yeah.
So I think the only way Undertaker could lose fittingly now at WrestleMania is to Kane, if Kane was done properly for a change. But like, I don't think Undertaker should lose full stop.
Yeah. And with like WrestleMania coming up next month, Undertaker, it's not long till his return, so I'm sure we'll find out then. And there's
Right.
rumours, I don't know if you guys heard, but of Sting possibly signing with WWE, possibly. And if he did, even though I'm one of these people that's totally against the old guys coming in, if I did get to see an Undertaker versus Sting match, even in this day and age, I would completely go crazy.
Yeah.
So
What I'd like to see is Undertaker. Obviously, I think is Lesnar the main candidate now at this point for
Lesnar is the main candidate
Yeah.
as far as I know.
Well, I'd like
it's,
to see something
Mystique.
like I'd like to see a gimmick for the match, because I don't know if it's enough by itself, like an ambulance match or something, and then you could even
You
throw.
love your ambulance
Yeah,
matches,
yeah, I
don't
do.
you?
I love them. Well, I just think like for WrestleMania, like let's not just do singles matches. Like let's just get something going
Yeah.
here. Like so. If like there was an ambulance match going, right?
Get an ambulance.
At least you could have Lesnar like over the like month before WrestleMania, kind of coming out and saying like, because I just don't think there was enough build up for certain like ones lately where you get the feeling Undertaker possibly could lose, especially with CM Punk and Triple H the last 2 years. There was like it was just overwhelming. The odds were against him, and you knew
Yeah.
Undertaker was going to win. At least if you had Lesnar coming out and saying like, I'm gonna I'm gonna hospitalise you or something. Like there might be a bit of an angle, to work with there. That like I think would work
casket
better.
match. Maybe.
Yeah, something.
A
something
casket
like that.
in an ambulance match. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Put like one
and like a
set it on
grave
fire.
and a grave inside the ambulance.
And drive it
at
into
same
the
time.
river.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that one, guys.
And then Undertaker comes back out for the pin.
He syncs up.
Because if they did that, like, yeah, imagine this, right? Imagine how sick this would be. Like, you get Brock Lesnar absolutely battering the Undertaker, puts him through, like, I don't know, like 2 commentary tables, and, like, he absolutely murders him. Then he brings him to the ambulance, right? Ambulance match. And he puts him in the ambulance, and everybody's like, oh shit, he closes one door, goes to close the other.
His
and
hand comes out.
No, then Undertaker sits up, choke slam, boom. Like, that's a great match as far as I'm concerned. So.
Well, like, that's what I've said. I've watched. I'm pretty sure I've seen every single one of Undertaker's WrestleMania matches, and for the amount of times he's kicked out pins and everything he's done, I honestly don't know what they could do to make him lose, because it just seems so far-fetched now in my mind that he would lose.
Yeah. So I think they need to tease it like really, really badly this time that he's going to lose for it to be another great match, like say Shawn Michaels at 25. Yeah. But like. No, like I don't know, if they leave it the way it is and it's just sort of a stale singles match with Lesnar, I think it runs the risk of being boring, even though they're too great. Like,
do you not find that Undertaker constantly being like winning? It's just kind of like, you know, what's the point?
Like the streak is great, like, but like, and it always provides a great match. But what's happening now is because it's such a thing that everybody knows who's going to win, and that's why they need to bring in a gimmick, I think.
Yeah.
Like an ambulance.
Yeah, like an ambulance. I'd stick with my ambulance.
Alright. Completely getting off track.
Yeah.
Again, I would just like to mention that this show and all of our future podcasts will be available on kotrwrestling.com when the site launches in March of 2014. So I'm going to look here quickly at TNA Impact was on last night, and I know some of you guys aren't big TNA fans. But I'm just going to give a quick list of what went on last night. The show was live in Manchester. They've been doing a lot of shows in Manchester or in England lately because that's where their biggest following is, believe it or not. And in the show last night, Gunner, who's an Iraqi war veteran.
Excellent name.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very intimidating looking character as well. But
it's a good gimmick. I like that Iraq war hero.
It's
gimmick.
Like Small Soldiers. It's like reminds me of one of them guys. What's his name?
Chip Hazard.
Yeah. Oh, what a film.
He had a TNA title shot against British champion Magnus, and he lost. Magnus is only 26 years of age, which for a guy who's a world champion is pretty, it shows for all the things TNA have done wrong throughout the years, and they have been doing wrong lately. Like, to have a very young world champion is pretty risky, but could be a good move for them to survive.
Been around for a long time as well.
Yeah,
like
he was on Gladiators.
Yeah,
that's where he started.
At TNA, though, he was with that British Invasion, wasn't he? With
Doug Williams.
Yeah.
That's
like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah, so he has. He's been there a while. I think it's crazy, young guys like that being veterans, you could say. And even like in WWE, Dean Ambrose, who's 27, I think, has been wrestling since he was 16, but he's only a new guy in WWE terms, but like the guy is pretty much a veteran. Gunner eventually had the match with Magnus. He loses after interference from his former partner James Storm, so there's a bit of a rift. All people turning on people going up into lockdown is TNA's big pay-per-view that's coming up in April, and that's just after WrestleMania, so you've got a lot of rifts going on in the system here. Kurt Angle next week will go into the TNA Hall of Fame, which is completely pointless at the moment in my opinion because there's only one other inductee and that's Sting. But they're trying to be like WWE and all power to him.
Oh well, it's dead right. I mean, he's an absolute legend.
Oh, of course, he deserves it. So 100%.
I only read last night now that he was named Wrestler of the Decade for the Naughties, I suppose we're calling them. Yeah, which is. Wow. I don't know if you could name another wrestler who was actually greater in those 10 years.
I think Kurt Angle, because of like the high, how would you say, the high thoughts people put Stone Cold and The Rock and all them in, that I think Kurt Angle will constantly be overshadowed in this generation. But like he's Oh, he's up there.
Well,
Definitely.
when you put it like that, like I would struggle to think of somebody because he was so consistent that he wasn't really out of the picture very much compared to like some of the other people. I'd have him up there with Edge maybe.
Yeah. And Benoit, but he kind of ruined the
TNA wrestler, TNA news. Bobby Roode, Robert Roode for years, he was part of Beer Money with James Storm. He came out and he threatened to leave in the vein of CM Punk, and he was interrupted by Dixie Carter. She said that for the 5-on-5 team cage match at Lockdown in April, she needed a captain, and she said that if Roode will be the captain of her team, that whoever wins gains control of TNA, and she will give him 10% of TNA. So that would be nice if you got 10%. And then and just in closing, like what do you guys feel about TNA? Obviously they're I know you guys aren't crazy into it, but they have had these older guys throughout the year. Basically they were trying to recreate WCW, a lot of people feel, to be an alternative to WWE, but they're starting up with younger guys now, so I think that's a good thing.
I used to watch. Oh, sorry, go on.
Alright, that's what I'd love to see though. The rivalry between TNA and WWE to be a proper rivalry, because it's not really, is it?
No,
like it's
a one horse race,
Another invasion. It could be done so much better. It could be done so much better.
It wouldn't be hard to do it better anyway.
Yeah.
I would love to see an invasion. Maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, if they have a few more young stars coming through, they build up their reputation and they start getting a good name. A few veterans in there and just invade. It'd be great.
Yeah, cool.
And like I think when you say veterans as well, I personally think they're on the right step with a guy like MVP, who's a guy who's been around for years but is young enough to still make an impact. Excuse the pun.
I watched it for the first time the other day. What was the deal with them changing the ring, the shape of the ring?
That was I think it was in 2010. They did this whole thing. They had signed Hogan and Bischoff are coming in, and there's trouble when Hogan and Bischoff are coming in, because they were the guys who did great for WCW but also put WCW out of business in the end. But yeah, so they came in and there was a lot of hype behind them, and eventually they said they really were pushing hard to try and compete with WWE, so they changed to the 4-sided ring, which I hate because excuse me, originally they had their 6-sided thing, and that was so original, like a 6-sided ring. And I remember Kurt Angle saying that wrestling in a 6-sided ring, he's never done anything like it, that whatever way the diameter of everything is just changes it up for him, and he had to shift his style. And I just thought it sounded really cool. But yeah, it would be great if they decided to bring that back and bring that bit of originality, but I don't know. But anyway, sure, that's enough for TNA for today. We will go back, and match number 4 for the Intercontinental Championship, Big E Langston, who is now just known by the name Big E. I don't know if any of you heard, they just trademarked the name Big E.
He's been hanging out with Cesaro a little too much.
Yeah, same with Cesaro. Cesaro's gone to Cesaro instead of Antonio Cesaro.
Yeah, it could be quite a good match. Swagger is becoming a bit of a joke, I think, but he's still got the potential to be like a really strong Intercontinental Champion or somebody who challenges in the division.
How many chances is Jack Swagger gonna have?
They're both really good wrestlers. Like, so this could be a surprise, like a bit of a dark horse for a good match here. But like I say, I just love to see the Intercontinental title brought back to its former status, alongside, say, if they are only like going to stick with the one World Heavyweight Championship. Like, the Intercontinental title has to be a big deal, and they need to like bring it back into the picture, have it defended more often, bigger people involved, and I think Big E and Swagger could be a good match, and it's a good way to kind of kick off what could be another good reign for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, completely agree.
I think Big E will win.
Yeah,
comfortably.
Yeah.
But I think Swagger being in this match and Cesaro being in the Elimination Chamber could signal the end of the Americans, which
we're looking at the split of a lot of tag teams
well,
there.
I'm sad that like the people can make. I like the whole hand over your chest and shit. And that. The old guy annoys me though.
Seb Coulter, yeah.
But but I think Cesaro has probably got more of a chance of going as a solo competitor rather than Swagger. I think if it is the end, I think he will be around for much longer.
And who do you feel, if they did split up, who do you feel would be the heel and who would be the face?
Swagger would be the heel.
Yeah. I think Cesaro, especially with that Cesaro swing thing that he's got going on, he has the crowd in the palm of his hand with that.
I think is it unthinkable for Swagger and Cesaro to have a match at
WrestleMania? Not at all. I think it's possible.
Because Zeb Coulter like is kind of picking a little bit on Swagger lately with the whole slap thing and all that. Like, so I don't think it's totally unlikely. Cesaro is by far gonna come out of that better off.
What a Cesaro! There's certain wrestlers that I just kind of have man crushes on, you could say, and Antonio Cesaro is one of them.
Just Cesaro, you can't say.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's all a trademark. Yeah. Harry, what do you feel on this one?
I think Big E will win. I think Jack Swagger. I just can't see a future for him at all. He's tried to improve on the mic, but he just doesn't have it. And I think Zeb Coulter is a fantastic character.
He is.
But I don't think Jack Swagger can rely on him for his entire career.
Yeah. He had Vicky Guerrero before him as well.
I don't see him having a future, and I don't see him winning the title. Cesaro, who we mentioned, and I'll come on to you more later. I'm a massive fan of Cesaro, and I think he has surpassed Swagger. And I think he's going to far surpass Swagger in terms of where his career goes.
And Jamie, short and sweet. What do you think?
Okay.
5.
Yeah, this should be short and sweet. I think the four of us should just say Batista now when you're on.
Yeah, well,
Only
Batista. I want to see
Batista versus
dominate.
Alberto Del Rio. First of all, I want to hear everyone's thoughts on the return of Batista. Andy, how do you feel personally?
Strolled in like he owns the place. I just think it's fair enough for him to return, but let's not just allow the man to headline WrestleMania. Like, let's give him a couple of matches to earn his way to the top again, rather than just come back in fresh from Guardians of the Galaxy and expect to be handed some gold.
I slightly agree. I think you're being a bit harsh because I do think it's great to see Batista back, and I was delighted to see him in the Royal Rumble. I don't think he didn't deserve to win it, especially not the way he did. You know,
It was
terrible.
Roman Reigns just comes in, and
Yeah.
gets rid of him. I thought it was a bit ridiculous, but I'm glad to see him back, and I do think he deserves a match at WrestleMania. I think. I know a lot of people don't agree with it and all, but maybe not as the challenger for the title, but. I think he does deserve a match at WrestleMania.
No, he deserves a match. I agree. I just don't think the way it was done was fair.
Yeah. No, he is. He's a big name in WWE. He always will be, and like he does deserve to come back. But again, I completely agree. The way that it was treated with him coming back, winning the Royal Rumble, and I hate people winning multiple Royal Rumbles because I think it's like a good stepping stone for someone. And he's now after winning 2. And the only other people who've won multiple ones, Austin won 3, Michaels won 2, Hogan won 2, and Cena won 2. So like that's Hulk Hogan, John Cena, Stone Cold, and Shawn Michaels, who are probably 4 of the biggest names ever. And Batista, who is up there, but I don't I wouldn't put him in the vein of them. I think they're top 10 of all time. Like, you know.
Last 10, 15 years he's.
I put Batista top 30
of all time.
Of all time.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Top 10 in the last 10 years.
Probably, but the last 10 years has seen a serious downfall.
Yeah. That's the
talent.
Yeah.
Eugene. Remember Eugene? Yeah. So cool.
Remember about one leg?
Yeah, he's been on TNA for a bit.
Yeah.
TNA.
Yeah. Good little Zach Gowen.
Popping around like a little...
Vince McMahon pulling his prosthetic leg off and smacking him with it. WWE was a bit risque back then, wasn't it?
The only thing that could actually improve this match for me is a Batista bomb through a table.
Yeah.
And
an ambulance.
Even if it's not an ambulance match, he just calls an ambulance and throws him in.
My main hope with this match is that that Batista, the one thing that I noticed about him, and again, like you were saying, Jamie, happy to have him back in a way. Don't think he should have won the Rumble, but in his physical appearance, I think in the Royal Rumble, he didn't seem to have his whole cardio very well. It was a bit like The Rock, like he looked a bit out of breath after a while. And I'd like to see that he's actually, if he needs to prove people wrong and show people on Sunday that he deserves to be in that match, regardless of what people think. If they want him to be, he needs to show them that he's in the right in-ring shape, because
it's his first singles match return, isn't it?
yeah. So he has a lot to prove, I think.
It's going to be a test, but he still looks as impressive as ever, and I think that has a lot. No, a champion needs to look impressive, and
Well,
he's got that, hasn't he?
I just hope that he's been training hard and that he's able to go, because
Sure
Del Rio, as Harry, you're a fan of Del Rio, and
Yeah,
Del Rio will work him.
I've got this down as the travesty of the night, to be honest. Because I'm a massive Del Rio fan. I just think it's completely unfair, if you like, that he's been wrestling for years now, Del Rio, week in, week out, and he's just going to get walked over by Batista, which is inevitably going to happen.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any justice in it.
Yeah.
It's going to be painful for me to watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is just a Lesnar versus Big Show type thing. This could be over, and that's the
Well,
point.
that Lesnar versus Big Show thing is a disgrace.
I genuinely hope, Batista, they are risking so much at Mania if they have Batista in the main event, and this is a Lesnar and Big Show type of thing, because he needs this match to prove himself. And I definitely think that, I don't think this should be his last match before WrestleMania either. He needs a few Raw matches.
I think he'll be fine. I think he'll prove everybody wrong, and he's going to come out and he's going to look impressive.
I
It
hope
would be
it
a
is.
really good
Yeah.
match if Del Rio actually gets a chance to, to properly.
I just
wrestle
hope
him.
it's not one side.
Well, that's the thing. Batista's not really that good of a wrestler, you could say.
Yeah.
And Del Rio is a great wrestler.
Yeah.
So it's contrast of styles. I don't know whether it'll work in Batista's favour or not, but
Yeah.
I don't like the white boots. Batista's
I don't
come
like
back
the
with
look in
white
general.
boots.
I think
Like,
I know you were saying that he
Looks
looks in
quite-
great shape and stuff. I think he looks smaller.
I don't know. I think the
Huh.
his attire now is quite amateurish. It doesn't look like it did before.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's.
what he used to wear, black pants.
He used to have like this sort of It was a little
Trunks,
like
Speedos, man.
wine type.
I used to love when he'd come out in his suit with Evolution. He was
Yeah.
like an absolute animal.
Yeah. Sure, Batista was the Roman Reigns of that day. He was
Yeah.
that guy you were like, oh, when he came out, you noticed.
He came out with
Batista.
Devon Dudley.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Reverend
The
Devon.
really old-
He was his bodyguard.
Yeah, that was how Batista
He used to
started.
carry a box. I can't remember what was in the box, but he used to carry a
He
box
was like
to the
the-
ring for
He was
Devon.
called Deacon Batista, and he was like carrying the collection box for the Reverend.
Jesus.
Oh,
But I remember
Jesus,
seeing him and
it's
thinking he was so impressive. And, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we haven't mentioned Alberto Del Rio properly.
Yeah.
I think at the moment it just seems like he's not doing anything.
Exactly.
He's not in any title contention. He's just drifting really.
And he's being treated as like one of those, like we were talking about earlier, the likes of the Zack Ryders, one of these talent that put people over, make them look good, and it's upsetting in a way because
He's a big character, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Del Rio as a character per se. Like I find him personally quite boring when he's talking and stuff. But the second that guy gets in the ring, he had matches last year with Ziggler that I thought were second to none. And it again shows that it's such a travesty that Ziggler is nowhere to be seen these days. But I'd love to see Del Rio put up a fight anyway in this and do something decent. Mania.
It needs to happen.
Maybe have him kind of contend for the Intercontinental title, try and put a bit of prestige in that against Big E at Mania. Could be a shot for Del Rio, Or,
that sounds good.
I imagine him being the US champion. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? The
Yeah.
Mexican
Yeah.
champion.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So we're going Batista, landslide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. Grand. Alright, now, match number 6, and I am telling you, as I wear my Shield t-shirt,
Nice.
this is the match that I am
I'm
living for
excited for
on
this
Sunday,
match.
and it kills me that it's not in the Elimination
I
Chamber.
know.
Oh my god, but the Wyatt family versus the Shield.
Can I just say, first of all, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania was unbelievable.
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble, sorry. But edit that out. It was 11 people did eliminate, or 12, I can't remember, but like a new record. And then to
Yeah,
just
the
get
12,
done by Batista the way it was just a travesty.
Yeah.
And
The two best stables in the WWE for the last probably 10 years going against each other. It's great to see.
Yeah. Best since Evolution, we were
That's
saying
what I was saying
earlier.
earlier on. Yeah, and I think it's going to be a great match. And for me, it has to be the Shield. I think it could be. It's going to be the high point of the Shield, and then it's just going to go.
yeah,
And that's it.
I
Shield.
think this
Roman
is-
Reigns going single.
I think that I love the Shield. I think they're 3 of the best in the business, but I think the Wyatts will win this for the simple reason that the Wyatts have to be put over for their match against Cena at WrestleMania, and this would make them look unbelievable to beat the Shield. Then you could have the Shield fall out over the loss. Finally, Reigns and Ambrose will, collide, and that will cause a triple threat at WrestleMania. So I'm thinking Wyatts need to take this for a business decision.
Yeah, I agree. But I think with the Shield breaking up, you've got Roman Reigns, who's obviously going to be the star. You've got Ambrose, he's good on the microphone. And
he's going to be
then you've got
heel.
That Seth Rollins who doesn't do anything.
I like Rollins.
See, that is my thing. That is my one big thing with the Shield when they break up. I am terrified about where Rollins is going to go, because I think more than any of them, Rollins needs the Shield. He needs that group, and even you can see in the kind of storylines at the moment the way that there's that tension between Reigns and Ambrose, but Rollins is like being the cool guy, trying to be friends with them.
Sort of like back then.
If they brought back the cruiserweight division, he could like mainstay it, and like. But then again, people this generation are going to see that as an insult that these guys can't fight for a world title, which is stupid.
I'd like to see Rollins stick with Ambrose, and they'd still be a great tag team.
I was just going to say that, because the tag team division does need something like that, and those two would definitely boost tag team.
Or even it's possible that after the triple threat match, the Shield could continue to exist, maybe. Because they're incredible, like as a stable. So
I've read people talking online about the possibility of Dean Ambrose being a face, which I don't know. Could I see it? But I find the idea of it interesting.
Yeah, it could be like a Jericho type thing.
Yeah, like Jericho or
like CM Punk sort of thing.
CM Punk, yeah, like that. He can kind of CM Punk's the greatest thing about CM Punk is that whatever way that whole straight edge thing, he can accentuate different different types of things to do with it. That he accentuates different areas to make him look like a good guy or a bad guy. Like he's saying that he's straight edge, he's better than you to be a bad guy, and then to be a good guy, he's like, oh, I don't do this, and I'm gonna kick your ass.
When he started, he had that at the phone, didn't he? Had 3 or 4 people like a team, like they shared all the heads and stuff, and
yeah,
like, he was badly then,
straight
but, like,
society, yeah, that was good.
Even then, like he drew people to him.
Yeah, So sorry, we've been talking about the Shield, the Wyatts. Oh my god, scared the crap out of me.
That sheet mask.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, because in the Shield, okay, the 3 of them, Rollins, Reigns, Ambrose, I love every single one of them. I think they all have their own good kind of characters. Luke Harper, I think the big guy in the Wyatts, scary guy, really like him, good wrestler, could be like not an Undertaker type, but like he's kind of agile for his size, but big, could be Kane, that type of wrestler. And Bray Wyatt, of course, has promo second to none. I'd love to see, even though they're both heel, I'd love to see a little feud between Ambrose and Wyatt, just to see them promos. Oh my god! But your man Eric Rowan, never really kind of saw anything with him except for that sheet mask. That's the thing that has gotten him over. He's a scary man.
And the beard's spectacular.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see. I don't know if they're going for this Bray Wyatt versus John Cena match at WrestleMania. I'd like to see it be the Wyatts versus John Cena at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I would
See
like
Superman
What handicap I could.
With an ambulance.
Yeah, like the Wyatts versus Cena ambulance match.
Well, there's
just a regular.
There is a possibility that the rumours are that Hulk Hogan is supposedly coming back to WWE. Now, whether it's for an appearance or it's for a match or whatever, he's a bit old. He mightn't pass. They have a very strict physical exam and stuff in WWE now, so he mightn't pass that because he's pretty broken down. But there could be a possibility of the Wyatts versus Cena and Hogan, which in itself is a pretty big name match, and it doesn't make Cena look as much of a Superman, I suppose, if he beats them, because he still has another person.
That's why I think the 3-on-1 match might suit him, because obviously Cena can't do anything wrong. So
Problem I've got is with the Wyatts, they're a great story tag team, whatever. Yeah. But it's gonna end eventually.
Yeah.
And then will Bret Wyatt have enough storylines behind him to keep going with this character, or are you gonna have to change it?
See, I think I genuinely I've been watching wrestling for years, and I think he's a character that I've seen that I would kind of compare to the Undertaker, which is saying something. But I think that he has that kind of thing that they could make it a kind of complex background. And if originally when Undertaker started, Undertaker was intended on being the biggest bad guy the WWE had ever seen, and the fans thought that he was so good at being a bad guy and so scary that it was the fans who changed him. And for very little points in his career, Undertaker was a bad guy because just fans love him because he's so creepy. And I genuinely, you can even hear with the Wyatts when their entrance comes up and they say we're here, you can hear the cheers. And I think eventually they're going to be they are gonna split up like you said, but I think Bray Wyatt in particular I think is gonna be
that entrance
okay.
Along with the Usos, the best entrances I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the Shield as well. The Sierra Hotel. Oh my god, it's just and it'll kill me if that's the last time I hear that on Sunday. the Shield entrance. But,
then they'll have to bring out 3 new entrances.
I think the Shield will win though.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna win.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Andy here on the Wyatt front with
even though I love the Shield, I'm afraid of Shield, but I'm going with Wyatt.
Harry, what do you?
I think the Wyatt family will win. They're newer and fresher, I'd say. So I think they'll want to keep that going, give them some momentum going into WrestleMania. Don't think the Shield need any momentum because I think they're inevitably going to split up anyway. So but I mean, after WrestleMania, I think at WrestleMania I could see Reigns in a handicap match against the other 2 members of the Shield, rather than a triple threat match. So if that happened, then I don't know what the outcome would be, but maybe bring someone else into the Shield. Yeah. A new 3rd member that they could push.
Yeah, that's another option that people are talking about. Like, you know, if Fandango could get something going.
I think Kofi would be a great addition to the Shield.
Kofi Kingston, just on that point, right? Kofi Kingston is a fantastic talent that, again, I think has just been doing the same crap for years. He's like a really, really good version of Santino Marella. He's just same shit, different day.
I would put him in the same mold as Rey Mysterio. They're both amazing athletes, but they're so boring.
Yeah, clean cut good guys that just.
Yeah, like
I always wanted to see Rey Mysterio as a heel just because I was like.
I always just wanted to see Rey Mysterio buried. Long term, I have despised Rey Mysterio.
I never liked him either. I couldn't understand why somebody that size could be the world champion.
Like he just baby face to the nines.
He brought so much though to the company in terms of merchandise and stuff like that.
He had a great rap video.
So much.
Yeah.
He's just for the kids. That's all he is.
Yeah, no, like that's what I'm like. You know,
think of all the masks.
He's like a child. I actually genuinely picture like a 12-year-old underneath that mask.
But that's what, like, you know, there's a lot of wrestling. Like that's why for years when I've been watching this that I get a lot of stick because people say it is childish, and in a way a lot of it is aimed at children. So you can see kind of if you were 8 years of age, Rey Mysterio would probably be the greatest thing in the world.
Well, on that point, I would say one of my favourite ever feuds was Mysterio Guerrero.
Yeah,
in the lead up to SummerSlam.
Eddie Guerrero.
The kid thing, wasn't it?
Eddie Guerrero could have a great feud.
And that was an incredible storyline.
That was a great match. The
ladder match, wasn't
it? So he's not completely useless.
Remember the mask cover?
I think he is these days.
Yeah. These days he is.
When he first came back though, he was cool.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so just once again, I would like to mention that this show and all future podcasts will be available on kotrwrestling.com when the site launches in March of 2014. So now on to a bit of WWE news this week. So now we're all aware of the CM Punk situation. The night after the Royal Rumble, CM Punk supposedly walked out of WWE. As far as the internet says, that he was told that he hadn't passed a concussion test supposedly, and he was claiming that he was fine, and the medical staff wouldn't let him go out and wrestle, and he pretty much just went into Vince McMahon's office and said, "I'm going home and I'm not coming back," and more or less people just have not heard or seen him since. And a lot of people, they're saying, like, you know, whether this is fake, whether it's a storyline or whatever, but like he hasn't said anything to any news outlets. There's plenty of people that would like pick up this story and like a bit of a shoot interview, they call it, which is like you could trash the company and you give your true opinions and stuff, but nothing has been said. But there was rumours during the week that CM Punk was granted early release from his contract, which expires in July of this year, but as far as we know, that is false. It was just rumours. But Vince McMahon commented for the first time this week saying that he's taking a sabbatical. Let's put it that way. What are people's thoughts on this?
I was gutted when I heard they'd left. I'm a big CM Punk, and I think he's probably the best person on a microphone I've seen for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
But and he's a good wrestler as well. And he's one of the people like Daniel Bryan, who wrestles every week. Like you were saying earlier about Batista coming back and just taking the limelight. Yeah. People like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk for the last 2 years have been carrying that company. John Cena as well.
And Bryan Punk in particular, he's a very he's supposed to be a very hard-headed man, and he's been very vocal. He was very vocal supposedly around the time of The Rock coming back that he basically didn't like. And in fairness, I can see completely where he's coming from. That in 2011 he broke onto the scene. He did that promo where he talked about everyone, and he was amazing. And then 2012 he's fighting Chris Jericho for the WWE title. That's not the main event. I personally find it's completely unfair on a guy who's the champion going into WrestleMania that he's not in the... And the main event, the WWE claim now that they have multiple main events at WrestleMania. The main event to me is the last match on the show. That is the last match. That's the last thing the fans remember. And The Rock versus John Cena has been the main event for the last 2 WrestleManias. And CM Punk has had arguably the match of the night for the past 2 WrestleManias. So I can completely see that a guy who deserved no doubt to win that Royal Rumble and be in the main event of this WrestleMania, why he'd be pissed. But again, he's broken pretty much. Like, you know, he could, like, selfishly we want him to be here, but the guy, you know, he's...
I don't mind the fact that he's gone, to be honest. I think as long as he comes back, he has some time to recharge. I don't think there's any space for him at the minute, really. I think because they've only got 1 title, there's nothing really for him. Since he had that 400 and whatever it was.
Yeah, 434 as far as I remember.
Since that title reign and then the match with Undertaker, he's just gone stale.
Yeah.
There's been nothing for him to do.
Yeah.
They need to have a rethink on him, I think.
Yeah.
See what he can do when he comes back, and hopefully will.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing that he's taking a bit of time off.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good point. But I also wouldn't be totally surprised at all if this was a storyline, because he hasn't spoken to the press properly, and because if it would be anyone to do such an in-depth kind of like move like this, it would be Punk because of the 2011 incident.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This could be something that's not dissimilar to that, and I'd see him coming back like in a shocking moment, sometime sooner than we all think. Or it could genuinely be that he's tired, but I'm not sure. But I agree with Harry. Maybe it's not the end of the world like most people think.
Yeah. Jamie, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, that's something I never thought about, what Andy just said, and I think it's a very good point. It could very well be a storyline, and if it is, it's working because it's got people talking. Everybody in the wrestling world is talking about it. All fans are talking about it. So, you know, if he does come back, it'll be a success, I think, and get people watching again.
Like I said, like completely for selfish reasons, and I think we all agree on it. We'd like him in a way to be there, but again, like if it means that he can have the time off, recharge his batteries, get in good health, and come back and just own the show, it would be sick. So then, on to news of this week. Rumours of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the owner of the WWE, buying Newcastle United, and they turn out to be false. Harry Barker, a resident Newcastle United supporter, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm going to keep this pretty short at the risk of turning into a sort of football podcast rather than wrestling. But the guy we've got in charge at the minute is terrible. He is awful. He's richer than Vince McMahon, but he doesn't use any of the money. And he doesn't have the same ability to promote that Vince McMahon has got.
Yeah.
And I think Vince McMahon would bring us a lot of revenue in America, that sort of thing. And it would put interest in the club.
Yeah.
A lot of interest in the club, which it already has through social media. So, I mean, it's a bit of a worry because he's got absolutely no experience of the business. But I mean, it would be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Alan Pardew kiss Vince McMahon's ass.
And the referees can all wear Newcastle
United
jerseys.
The referees can wear Newcastle jerseys, same colour and all. So yeah, it could work.
Guys, Andy and Joe.
Yeah, I just would love to see an ambulance match in St. John's.
I can't see the logic behind him buying a club. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think the idea is that it's because he wants to raise his game in England.
Yeah.
And that would help him do that.
How they should raise their game in England, bring SummerSlam or WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Wade Barrett
Which would be sick.
London,
Again, crown Barrett the champion. That's how you do it,
I
man.
just think London should absolutely have been used at this stage for some major.
They did SummerSlam '92 was the last pay-per-view that was held in Wembley, and it was
Wembley.
British Bulldog won the Intercontinental title against Bret Hart.
Exactly.
William
I'm a
Regal
wrestling
should win the World
encyclopedia.
Championship.
I would love if Regal won it, but
Has he ever
Regal's
won
been
it?
past it now. No. But Regal,
The new Wembley Arena is amazing there. Imagine
Yeah.
if they had WrestleMania there.
Yeah.
It would be good.
and I would be there. Like,
I don't see many downsides to it.
yeah.
All he needs to do is a Raw tour, but a televised Raw tour in the
Well, they
country.
have a televised.
Yeah.
Well, they do Raw here. in
The odd
country.
one.
Not often
The
though.
odd
I
one.
mean,
they
like,
do it twice a year.
Yeah,
like
but
November
what I
and-
mean is a tour. Like if they did like a UK tour, the way they are in a different city every Monday night in America. If they did that for say 6 months here, yeah, it would be so
well,
beneficial.
they usually do like a week in Milan and a week in London and a week in Newcastle, that type of thing. That's
Yeah, well, I'm talking a year now. Come on, Dublin.
whole year. Grant. So, as well, the night before WrestleMania every year is the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame ceremony this year, there are 3 people announced already. We have three legends. Jake the Snake Roberts, who's definitely deserving of it, been around for years. The Ultimate Warrior, who's a very controversial figure, who's been around for years, and Lita, who's a bit more our generation, is also announced.
Big
What are
fan of Lita.
everyone's
I'm
thoughts
a
on that?
massively a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got 2 big personalities that are great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
but are we
fun.
all big
More
massive
fun than
fans of
nobody else,
Lita
yeah.
because she's like so sexy, or do we think she's
No,
actually
I
deserving?
personally,
of it?
I think
She was a good
Trish,
wrestler.
Trish Stratus went into the Hall of Fame last year,
Mm.
and I think Lita deserves it as much as Trish
Well, Trish
Stratus.
Stratus
Yeah, I
is
actually
way
agree.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like Jesus. I mean, if we're talking about TNA, like go for Trish every time. But as a wrestler, yeah, Lita was exceptional, and she also could hold her own against the male wrestlers like
Exactly.
China, which nobody else really.
Male wrestlers like China.
No, male wrestlers. Sorry, as China did. I mean, but like she hadn't actually. Nobody really since China has been able to wrestle males, I suppose. So she, yeah, I think she's deserving of it. She was a good wrestler as a woman. She was one of the only ever interesting divas, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That whole fair thing was quite good.
yeah, she herself and Trish as well were the only, as far as I know, the only women in history to main event Raw. The other rumored name for this year is Scott Hall, which Scott Hall, legend in Jamie. You remember Scott Hall
I
very
love
well.
Scott Hall. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
WCW legend. man.
I used to watch WCW a little bit, and like it was just so cool when him and Nash came through the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, not that I remember, but I've seen videos of it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Is he a WWE legend though?
Yeah.
Oh
I thought
man,
was there
he
before
had
that.
and
he came back
the
to
very
full
first
crowd.
ladder match, the very first televised ladder match at WrestleMania
Okay.
10 against Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
a big name back then. But again, like, of course, the main thing, he's rumoured for the Hall this year, but they could also bundle him in with Kevin Nash under the NWO. And with Hogan coming back, you never know, NWO could be inducted.
Triple H could induct him himself personally.
Scott Hall of Fame.
But yeah, and then for next year, so next year's WrestleMania is going to be held in California, WrestleMania 31, and the rumor at the moment is that the headliner for that, because it's in California, the home of Hollywood and all that, that The Rock is going to be the headline name.
Again.
What? No, he's never been in it. Yeah, he hasn't been inducted yet.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant headline the event.
No, sorry. His the Hall of Fame. So, what's everyone's thoughts on that? Of course, he deserves
Well,
it.
of course. There's no need for
It's obvious,
discussion.
isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the greatest of all time, without a doubt.
No, I completely agree.
My favourite of all time, anyway.
Yeah,
As a kid growing up, like, he was so cool.
Rock, yeah, well, he'd be in my top 3 now. I'd probably go for Triple H #1, but still, yeah, he's an unbelievable legend.
controversial pick to have on
He is the greatest heel of all time, without a doubt.
Well, that's true. And next we have sad news, unfortunately, of Nelson Frazier, who was wrestled in the early 90s as Mabel, wrestled in our time in the Attitude Era as Viscera, and then later on as Big Daddy V. He died of a heart attack, I think, last Tuesday. There's so many wrestlers under the age of 50 that have died, which is...
Well, I think this was unrelated to,
obviously to his size.
He was overweight, really, wasn't
he? Yeah, and he was quite a big man.
Yeah, I think it's sad news, but it's not unexpected, unfortunately. Yeah. So there you go.
Numerous wrestlers, Kevin Nash, Rob Van Dam, all that commented on it. And I just have a quote here from Twitter of Chavo Guerrero saying that, "I'm very sad, heard that my friend Big Daddy V passed away. He will always be remembered, one of the good guys, another brother gone." And again, like, it must be, for those guys to get the call that someone that they worked with died, it must be tough, but again, they must be so used to it by now with the amount that have died. And it's a very sad state that, all these guys are passing away. And but anyway, on to a bit less morbid news. The WWE Network, which WWE have been talking about for months and months, has its date set 24th of February 2014, so next Monday, the night after Elimination Chamber. It's going to launch only in the US. What are people's thoughts on this?
Well, we have no announced date.
There's no announced date at all for the UK at the moment.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because there's such a huge fan base here. I mean, I don't understand why they wouldn't exploit it straight away.
For the moment, though, I'm quite content because I have a lot of wrestling DVDs to watch.
Yeah, but no, it's a great idea, and it's definitely a logical step forward. And as soon as it comes to the UK, I'll probably be snapping it up. So yeah,
they're going to be having as well as they're going to have like live programming on it, and they have a show called Legends House, which, as far as I know, is going to be a reality show in the vein of Big Brother, with wrestling legends in it. And that's going to be one show. So far, I think Roddy Piper and Ric Flair are two of the announced names.
Cool.
So that'll be interesting.
I think it's going to be staged though.
Oh yeah, no, I'd reckon it'll be more in the vein of like that Kardashian crap, rather than
Hogan knows best.
Yeah,
Trish, Lita, and China in there, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they're gonna have all them shows, and of course the big thing with this, they're gonna have every wrestling pay-per-view, alright, from 1985. WWE, ECW, WCW, all of them since 1985.
It's an
you can see me in 20 years.
Is Raw gonna be included on them?
What they're gonna do is every month they're gonna show you the pay-per-view, and I think for the week you can get a replay of it, and then I think it goes off for whatever amount of time. But basically, you're gonna get every single pay-per-view. You're going to get Raw. You get a pre-show and a post-show of Raw, and then the next day you get the episode of Raw.
Cool.
So because they have a TV license with, I think in America it's USA Network and it's Sky here, but they can't break that at the moment. But I'm sure eventually you will get Raw live on the
It's
thing.
a great
but
idea.
At the moment,
is deadly.
For $10 a month, it's sick, and you have to sign up for 6 months. So like basically they have you for 6 months anyway. But even like I'm a huge wrestling fan. I would have no problem spending 120 quid a year for unlimited wrestling.
Great idea, and
less than 120 quid as well if you put it in pounds.
Yeah,
let's get it on.
So so that's our main WWE news for today. Then lastly, as we've come to near the end of our show, we have match number 7, the headline match, the main event, the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. The champion Randy Orton versus Cesaro, Christian, Cena, Sheamus, and Daniel Bryan. What are your thoughts, Andy?
My thoughts are that everybody would obviously like to see Daniel Bryan win, but I don't think that Sunday is going to be that day. I think what's going to happen most likely is that Orton will retain. That they'll bring it. Well, I think the best thing they could do now is for Orton to retain this. yeah, like Batista is obviously, they can't escape the fact that he will be now headlining. So they bring Batista and Orton to WrestleMania, but they throw Bryan into the mix. It's a triple threat match. And they have the potential for one of the most feel-good moments of WrestleMania ever. Like, quite similarly to Benoit and Guerrero celebrating in the ring at WrestleMania
20.
20? Okay.
10 years ago.
Yeah,
so
10
it's the
years
10th
ago.
anniversary.
That was probably the greatest feel-good moment of WrestleMania ever.
Unfortunately, it's been tarnished now.
Yeah,
That's the
but
problem.
it was the small guy who nobody thought could actually lift the title, who had actually eventually gone on to beat two huge names, two of the greats, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, and everybody loved it. And I could just picture this being even greater if Bryan beat Batista and Orton, and then you could just see the whole audience, yes, 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 as we go to the credits. It's just an incredible moment. So I think that's what should happen. I think Orton should retain, and they should wait until WrestleMania and then give Bryan the belt. So I can see Orton retaining this. I think the order it's going to go, get Christian out quickly, give Cesaro enough time to like actually like make a name for himself in this chamber and to wrestle well. Probably actually no, yeah, I'd like to see Sheamus go after that. Then Cesaro to leave as number 4. Then you've got Cena, Bryan, and Orton left. And if they left it to Orton and Bryan, I think that would be the best time for everybody.
I think what will happen is, I agree with that, it'll be Orton and Bryan, but I think something will come into it with the whole, McMahon thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he might get screwed over a bit, even though it's in an elimination chamber. I'm sure they'll find a way. Something could happen.
You think Bryan will get screwed over?
Bryan will get screwed over. Orton will retain the title, and he'll have to be included in a triple threat in WrestleMania then, because
good shout. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So
If that-
I'd like to see that happen.
If that didn't happen, though, I think it probably will happen. I think there's only 3 people that could win it, in theory, and that'd be Orton, Cena, or Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And I think
the only.
Cena can't win it though, because he's won it so many times now. He can't win it.
But man, you can
There's
never
no-
count John
there's no-
Cena.
yeah, I
out.
think
There's no way. Like, everyone is overlooking John Cena for this match. Like,
That's
I think,
because the Wyatts have to
Yeah.
face Cena. I like, obviously Bray Wyatt can't challenge for the title yet. So
yeah.
there's no way. I think Cena is as out of the running as the other 3.
I think this will be Christian's last match.
Yeah, Christian has no hope this one.
I'd love to see Christian absolutely annihilated backstage before the match and Brock Lesnar to step in his place.
Well, Harry, what do you feel?
Yeah, obviously count Christian out of it, count Sheamus out of it, count Cesaro out as well, unfortunately. But I was just going to bring up a point on Cesaro that I don't know if anyone watched Raw this week.
Yeah.
But Cesaro,
Him and Cena.
that was Cena's best match in a very, very long time. And it was because of Cesaro.
Yeah. Supposedly he got a standing ovation when he went backstage.
Yeah.
The people backstage, Triple H, Vince, everyone gave him a standing ovation, which is
Cesaro was absolutely fantastic in that match, and I think hopefully he gets to put out Christian or Sheamus.
Yeah.
I think Cesaro should make a name for himself through this chamber, even if he leaves midway through. I think he should be given enough time, you're right, to eliminate Sheamus or Christian, definitely Christian, but he should be given enough time to really make a name for himself in a loss here. So like, I'd love to see Cesaro come out and shine.
I feel that this should be Cesaro. The Elimination Chamber should be to Cesaro what the Royal Rumble was to Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
He loses, but he looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like
What I would love to see is, because I just think Christian's place in this chamber is so pointless, is something similar to Edge. I can't remember what chamber it was. It was about 3-4 years ago, where Edge came out. He had lost the title in the first Elimination Chamber.
And
he came out
he attacked
Kofi Kingston, and he took his place in the chamber
and won that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see Lesnar or Henry come out, throw Christian aside, and them hop in and like not obviously win, but cause some pain, because they need like a big man in there.
Kane is coming in and he's gonna.
Yeah,
He's gonna do something.
Kane would be
Bryan.
great to come in and pick on Bryan. And Kane probably will have some sort of impact on the outcome of this match. But like I just think there needs to be a big man in there.
Well,
I don't like Sheamus.
So Harry, you're going for Orton, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got it really, but I hope there's something in it so that Bryan can get a match at WrestleMania for the title, but I just don't see it happen.
Do you know the one thing that
You don't see Bryan wrestling for the title,
I don't either.
Do you think it'll be Kane Bryan at WrestleMania?
I think it'll be Kane, Bryan, Orton, Batista, unfortunately.
And I'd love if Kane came back with the mask. That match.
The one thing though, and I find it fascinating that Daniel Bryan is that one guy that universally you will never find someone say that they don't like him. Everybody likes him. It's madness, like, because people, you know, like even Rock and Austin had their detractors back in the day. Like, you know, some people did like Rock, some people liked Austin, some people hated them. But Daniel Bryan, everyone, he just has that connection.
It's just mental how one word.
Yeah. Yes, that we all say every day. Yeah. And also, just on that point, I think WWE, you know the way they have this Be a Star campaign that they do, where it's all about anti-bullying and stuff like that. They have a huge opportunity with this yes thing. I think, like, try and say it to, I don't know, like gay rights, or just like make people say yes, like, because they've trademarked the yes movement. And I think that they're gonna not take it away from Daniel Bryan, but they're gonna expand on it from Daniel Bryan and make a big thing of it.
Well, yeah, I just think it would be terrible. It would be such a waste to have Bryan face Kane at WrestleMania. It would be terrible and awful. It wouldn't be a bad match by any means, but it would be such an anticlimax. And if they do have Orton and Batista headline, it's going to be a proper Goldberg versus Lesnar situation. The crowd are going to hate the match.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just I'll give my thoughts. Like I was saying, Cesaro, I think that he should have a Roman Reigns style performance, completely own the match, but like lose in. I don't think even at that, even though I love the guy, I don't think he should win. He shouldn't. As interesting as it would be to see him and Batista at WrestleMania, I think he's one of them guys that needs to be built up.
Yeah. I think the best thing for him would be if he eliminated Cena. If he got rid of Cena, that'd be a big.
Oh my god, yeah, that would be sick.
That'd make a lot of
that would be great. I definitely would go with that. Yeah.
Sheamus, I don't think he's gonna win it, but I think, like, I as much as I'm not really a fan of Sheamus, I think when you guys were saying about that the match needs a big man, he's a pretty hard hitting guy, so like he could surprise us in that respect, that he's gonna be beating up people in there, you know, could cause a bit of pain.
Triple H loves Sheamus as well.
He does love Sheamus. But yeah, so Christian, of course, I don't like hate Christian as much as a lot of people hate him. I like the guy.
I don't hate him.
I don't think
he should be in the picture for the WWE.
He's not deserving of it at all.
Well,
he's been there for years, man. He was. Shawn Michaels was originally a tag team wrestler in the Rockers with a guy called Marty Jannetty, and since then there's been a phrase that if someone is in a tag team, there's always the Shawn and there's the Marty. That's what people say. Edge was the Shawn Michaels of Edge and Christian, but Christian is a hell of a lot better than Marty Jannetty was. So, you know, but every tag team has a Shawn Michaels. You know, that's the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I don't think Christian obviously is going to win this match. It does come down to Cena, Orton, and Bryan, and here is where I'm going to throw a spanner in the works. I think there is going to be a lot of interference in this match. On Cena's behalf, I think don't discount the Wyatts, because they're looking to get the Wyatts and Cena possibly at Mania. You never know.
If the lights go out, they don't.
Couple of years
ago. That's what
ago.
I was saying about the Daniel Bryan thing, that like somebody come in like Kane, but I don't know how to do it.
A couple of years ago, Shawn Michaels it was just before he retired. He wanted to have a match with Undertaker at Mania, and the only way he would fight Undertaker is if he won the Rumble, and he didn't win the Rumble, blah blah blah. But it was a chamber match for the world title, and it was down to Undertaker and Jericho. The referee was down, and then next thing you know, the steel grating around the chamber, it pops up, and Shawn Michaels comes from under the ring into the chamber. Sweet chin music to Undertaker, costs Undertaker the belt, sets up his match with thing. So there are plenty of ways.
Easy way to think of it is like the Wyatt family have that whole thing, the lights all go out and stuff like that. And
then it's the creepy like Undertaker that they just end up in the ring.
Say Cena has Orton flat out on the mat, and then the lights go out.
Then
For maybe 30 seconds, lights come back on, Orton's behind him, hits the RKO.
Also, I think you've got Corporate Kane now, so if he comes out, all he needs to do is bring a few referees with him and order them to open up the thing, and he steps in himself, just involve himself in the match.
Yeah.
So you could be right, there could be a lot of interference in this match.
That said, the other thing that, and now I'm gonna I have a complete brainwave with this.
Okay.
I think if Daniel Bryan loses, I do think he's going to be screwed out of it, whether it's by Kane or whether it's by Triple H himself, because I think that there's a huge possibility, because the rumoured match at WrestleMania for CM Punk was him and Triple H. So if CM Punk isn't here, Daniel Bryan, obviously storyline sense, it makes sense for Daniel Bryan to face Triple H at WrestleMania.
It'd be a better match than Bryan Kane.
Even though we all want Bryan to be in the main event, I can personally I see it more likely that he's going to face Triple H at Mania. But I think that there is a possibility that Triple H himself will come out, attack Christian, enter the chamber. Huge risky thing. I don't know if it's going to happen, but there is that slight possibility. And Triple H, he was quoted there during the week saying that whoever wins the Elimination Chamber will be the face of the company. Okay? What if the whole time he intended on that being him? And how would that make him the biggest heel? He'd be despised because he's that cocky. And then you could have him, Orton. I'd rather not a fatal four-way, but him, Orton, Batista, and Bryan are in the title picture for Mania.
I wouldn't like to see H do that because, there's heel and then there's that would just be unpopular. Whereas he was a great heel because he was evil, but it was great. It was great to watch. This would just be over the top and it would just be nonsensical.
Yeah.
But I think I'm convinced that Christian will not enter this chamber. I actually am convinced.
Yeah, no, I think Christian is the least likely. If someone's going to get knocked out.
Christian won't. I don't think Christian will enter this chamber. I think
Chris Benoit will come back.
I think that Lesnar is definitely he's been quiet since he came out and demanded a title shot, and I think it will be Lesnar who enters the chamber over Christian. To be honest.
Cool. I'm gonna go with Orton to win. I'd love if somehow, I do think Bryan is going to get through it. I don't think he's going to. And even though what I said about Triple H entering, I think that the likeliest option for Bryan to enter would be have Bryan wrestle twice at Mania. Have him wrestle Triple H, and the stipulation being if he beats Triple H, he gets to face the winner of Batista and Orton, or he gets inserted in the triple threat match. And I also think the whole situation with the world title having a triple threat match with Bryan, Orton and Batista, I think that will also affect, if the Shields do end up splitting up, that will affect them having a triple threat match, because I don't know if they'd have two three-ways on the same show, so it's interesting. But
either way, I think it's going to be a great match because I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as those 6 men versus each other. So
yeah. No, so it is looking like a very good show. But okay, well then, there we have it. That's the predictions for this Sunday's pay-per-view. You can catch the event Sunday, the 23rd of February, 2014 at 1 a.m. on Sky Sports 1. I just want to thank all of the lads, Andrew.
Thanks for having us, Sean.
Thank you.
Joe, Harry, and Jamie. And thanks for joining me. And I shall see you next time, where we discuss maybe the results of the show or a few predictions again down the line, and we'll have another show, I'm sure. So I'm Sean Toner with KOTRWrestling.com. So just chill till the next episode.